Wendy Ressler, and tonight I'm going to be speaking to you on the importance of knowing what medications you're taking and how come it's important to have those medications written down. In my job at medical records up at the hospital, I see it all the time. The very first thing the doctor reports is what medicine is the patient on and do they have any drug interactions. And why do they need to know what medicines people are taking? Well, a lot of other medications can react with the medications you take on a daily basis. If you're on a blood thinner, they don't want to give you another blood thinner because your blood's already thin. It also, some medications, if you take together, can lead to death. So you don't want that to happen for sure. And then some over-the-counter medicines can also interact with prescribed medicines, and so you also need to have those medicines written down. And people say, well, I only have 1 or 2 medicines I take on a daily basis. I don't really need to have all this stuff written down. I have it in my head. Well, a stroke, heart attack, a crash on the interstate, none of that has a time limit, and none of that just, you don't know that's going to happen. And if you're unconscious, you're not going to be able to tell that doctor what medicine you are on. That's why you need to have it written down. And it's a good idea to tell somebody in your family or someone that's with you often, hey, I have a list of my medicines in my purse, in my wallet. Or I keep it in my billfold, or I keep it in the console of my car. Just somewhere where it's easily accessible at all times. The doctor uses this list of medicines for your treatment plan. If, for instance, say you tell them 4 of your medicines, but you don't tell them the 5th medicine, then the 5th medicine may show up on your lab work, and it could make your labs off, and then they may think you have a condition that you don't really have. It's that medicine that's making that condition, or making your labs appear like you have that condition. Another big myth people have is, I went to the same doctor for 30 years. He knows what medicines I take because he prescribes them. That's not necessarily true. He doesn't know your over-the-counter meds you're taking, so you always need to make sure you tell him that. And sometimes the doctor can say, well, I'll call in that medicine. You don't know what medicine he's calling in. So you get it from the pharmacist and you've been taking this medicine and something happened in between the doctor calling and the pharmacist filling your bottle of pills. It's a good thing that, if you say, well, I'm taking 50 milligrams of this blood pressure pill, and the doctor says, well, but I only prescribed you 25. Why are you taking 50? Well, that's what I got from the pharmacy. So it helps kind of bring light any mistakes that may have happened. Another thing I see frequently in my job is people who don't want to tell that they're taking an antidepressant, a pain pill, or something of that nature. If you break your leg and you go to the ER and they do an x-ray and they say, okay, you have a broken leg, but they've also drawn blood, and you test positive for a pain pill. That doctor's not going to give you a pain pill for that broken leg. He's going to tell you to go home and take some Tylenol. And because they don't want to aid in any type of addiction that you may have. Another thing is antidepressants show up as drugs sometimes. If you're taking an antidepressant and it shows up as a drug in your bloodstream, you may be labeled a drug addict when you're taking a prescribed pill. So it's always important to list every single medication. So to sum it all up, you want to keep your prescriptions wrote down on a piece of paper. It can be in your cell phone, just somewhere you can find it. And the reasons for this is to prevent further medical mistakes if one's already happened. It aids in your treatment of your current condition or future conditions. And it may prevent you from dying due to a drug interaction. Do you guys have any questions? Yes, Jonathan?
So you're supposed to actually Instead of telling just one person, can't you just tell the entire world?
Yeah, you could tell more than one person.
Like your entire family and then all your
And
friends.
it's important for kids to know what medicines they take or they're allergic to, because you might not always be with mom and dad. So make sure you know if you take a medicine or you're allergic to a medicine.
That's bad.
Yeah, because if you are on a trip with some friends and you get sick, it's always good to know.
I don't know.
Any other questions? Okay.
Wait. I have another question. What does everyone think of British?
I don't know.
That's off topic.